Hi, this is Pej with Pej Interventions. I'm an interventionist and a family recovery coach and an individual recovery coach for those that want to be in recovery. Before we get started, if you like this channel, please subscribe. Please share it everywhere. Please comment in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. And let's get right into the chronic relapser. So this is the topic for today. What is a relapse? So basically it's a lapse in perhaps a person that is trying to stop substances, right? A lot of people don't believe that a person is relapsing if they haven't really done the work and then gone out and used again. They say that people are just taking a break from using and drinking. That might be circumstantial. So I've heard chronic relapsers use this term used for people that continue to keep on using. People that will get sober for a while, perhaps they go to treatment or they will go to jail for a while, or there's some kind of circumstance that happens in their life and they are abstaining from using during that time, but then all of a sudden they find themselves using again. Sometimes it's meth, sometimes it's alcohol, sometimes it's heroin, sometimes it's fentanyl. It doesn't matter the substance, it matters about the individual. The fact that they can't seem to stay sober. There are some people that put some substantial amount of time sober together, sometimes 6 months, sometimes a year, sometimes a few years, and then they find themselves going back to using again. So let's just focus on that instead of getting caught up in the semantics of what chronic relapser means. So let's say a person has actually been exposed to recovery and they've attempted to work on the recovery. I mean, what is the word recovery? You're recovering from something. What is it? A seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. So the point is, the goal is to become recovered, to be able to overcome using and drinking. Why does a person go to treatment in the first place? Because they want to detoxify their body from a substance that's been consuming them. So the point of going to treatment is to get off of that substance. And you would think in a perfect world, a person would never want to go back to doing that substance again. But unfortunately, sometimes when the smoke clears and people come and they start to feel better about themselves, I always say the disease sleeps with one eye open. Disease of addiction, alcoholism sleeps with one eye open. It will convince you that you can go back and do it again, or that you've overthought this, or maybe you're not as bad as you thought you were, or you got enough information. And so now you got to go back to your world and do things the way that you want to. And any life run on self-will is usually a life that ends up in a self-will run riot type of situation. When a person relapses, it's never pretty. When a person continues to keep using, it's never good. It gets really, really ugly. So why does a person do that? I believe that a lot of people have a lot of unresolved issues, things that they are not willing to look at, things that they are not ready to actually stand up against and try to work through. A lot of it is psychological. A lot of it is mental. A lot of it is selfishness and self-centeredness. A lot of it is enabled. There are certain people in that person's life that are giving them an area and a space to be able to go back to living that certain lifestyle. And it's not just a person that, say, for example, is 21 years old that depends on his mom or his dad to throw money at them to be able to go back and use again. Sometimes it's high-powered business people that, let's say, for example, have a wife or a husband and they live at their house and they're the breadwinner themselves. Sometimes their own enabler. But a person that doesn't actually know what their alcoholic or addictive condition is and the magnitude of the problems that they cause themselves and others around them is basically a relapse in the making. Sometimes the relapse happens before they actually physically put the substance in their body. A lot of times we see a lot of people that are in treatment centers. They come, they're there for a little bit of time, and then they start formulating a plan after maybe a week or two of how they need to leave early because they have a business to get to or families to get to or their kids to get to, all the excuses that they'll make. And they will absolutely, there's AMA blocking going on. You've got the staff that's trying to convince them it's not a good idea. You're going against medical advice. You're going against treatment advice. You're going against clinical advice. You came here for a reason. You need to address the problem and continue to work on that. But this person is convinced that they're going. Well, let's just put it this way. They haven't, before they've even left out of that treatment center, they're already loaded. That means they are already in relapse mode. Without even putting the substance within themselves, they've behaviorally relapsed, and they can try to convince themselves or you or anybody in front of them that they're not about to go and use. But more often than none, they do go and use, they go and drink, and they then have to start all over again. So chronic relapse, or what does that mean? It's a person that's chronic, like they continue to keep doing the same thing over and over again intensively, right? And a lot of times that will bring them right back to treatment. A lot of times that will put them in a certain position where they get in trouble with the law. Sometimes it's a DUI, DWI, sometimes, 502, they get incarcerated. Sometimes it puts them in a position of straight homelessness to the point where the drugs became so important to them, or the alcohol became so important to them that anything good that was given to them, pass it right up and not even care about it because they'd rather do drugs because that's more important to them. So how does a chronic relapser overcome this behavior, this bad habit of constantly relapse? They have to become dedicated, devoted, and committed to themselves to not go back to that way of life. A lot of people say when they come back from a relapse, well, I hope I stay sober this time. And I believe that words have power. Like if that's the type of words that are coming out of your mouth and that's the way that you're thinking, then you're basically a reservation in the happening. Like that sounds like a reservation. I hope I stay sober this time. How about this time I'm going to stay sober and I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to stay sober 100%. I'm going to work through all of my nooks and crannies and darkest secrets and be able to overcome anything that I've endured, encountered. And I don't want to go back to that lifestyle because I know my condition. Until a person doesn't know what their condition is and until they don't want to address it and do something about it, most likely they're going to relapse again. So I believe I've talked enough about this today. If you are yourself a person that continues to keep trying to attempt to get sober, but relapsing, we can have a conversation. You can always reach out to me. Would love to be able to try to guide you. And if you have a loved one that continually keeps using, I'd love to hear from you too. You can always text me at 949-751-7761. We can set up a consultation and a call, and then I can guide you into certain pathways to try to help you. I'm also part of Intervention on Call. You can always come to our free family support groups. They are 5 days a week. You have to register at www.interventiononcall.com and just look for the different days. It's Sunday through Thursday. You can sign up, come to our free sessions. You can also book private sessions more specific to your needs. Again, if you like this channel, Pej Interventions, we'd love for you to subscribe, to share it, to comment, and to like. Until we meet again, thank you.